All right, let's jump right in. How does a teenager climbing a tangerine tree in Greece somehow lead to the founding of a modern tech company? I know, it sounds a little out there, right? But the answer reveals this really powerful way of thinking about abundance that kind of flips the script on how we look at life and business. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this story. So, let's kick things off with this quote from Evangelos Taxiarchis, who's at the very heart of our story today. The nature has no tongue to speak, has a body that talks. And that idea right there, that nature is always trying to tell us something important if we just pay attention, that's the key to this whole thing.
So where did this whole philosophy even come from? Well, it all started in one single powerful moment of just watching. Let's head back in time to a family farm in Greece.
So picture this. You've got a 13-year-old Evangelos doing a chore he'd done, a million times before, climbing a tangerine tree to pick the fruit. Just a totally normal day. Or so it seemed.
But then, up at the very top of the tree, something just clicked. His physical view changed, and boom, his whole mental perspective changed right along with it. He calls it a light bulb moment, where it felt like the tree was suddenly letting him in on a secret.
I mean, he looked around and what he saw was just insane. The tree was being so productive. Every single branch was overflowing, just loaded with fruit. So much, in fact, that some of the branches had actually snapped from the sheer weight of their own generosity.
And this is where the big realization hits. On the left is what you or I might see looking at all that fruit on the ground. A mess, a total waste, right? But on the right, that's what Evangelos saw. Pure, unconditional generosity. The tree wasn't calculating or holding anything back. It was just giving everything it possibly could.
Now, this wasn't just some nice, fuzzy thought he had and then forgot about. No way. This moment became the bedrock for an entire system of thinking. He actually broke down what he saw into 5 core principles, what he saw as the engine behind all of nature's success. And here they are, the 5 big ones he pulled from nature. First up, consistency. Nature just shows up and does its thing every single day. Then you've got persistency. It just keeps going, it pushes through, kind of like a root finding its way through solid rock. Next, reproduction. It's always making more of itself to keep things going. Then, a huge one, distribution. It shares what it has freely, just like that tree dropping its tangerines for anyone. And finally, recycle. Absolutely nothing goes to waste. Everything goes back into the system to start the process all over again. He saw this as the secret code to abundance. Okay, so it sounds great in theory, right? But does this stuff actually work in the real world for a person? Well, Evangelos decided to put this business principle of nature to the ultimate test, with his own life.
And check out this journey, it is just wild. At only 15, he takes off for Italy with basically nothing but 2 books and pocket change. 4 years later, he does it again, this time to England. Each time, he's starting from absolute zero, with nothing but these principles to guide him. Which brings us to the big question, doesn't it? How on earth do you pull that off? You have no money, you don't speak the language, you don't know a soul. How do you even survive, let alone build a life for yourself?
And his answer? Well, it was as simple as it was powerful. He just believed that real value doesn't need a sales pitch. I knew good work doesn't need words to explain. He was just going to show people what he was worth through his actions.
And this story about the bakery job? It's the perfect example of these principles in action. Consistency? Check. He swept the street in front of this bakery every single morning. Persistency? You bet. He did this for weeks, didn't ask for a dime. And distribution? He was literally giving away value, a clean, welcoming storefront, for free. And the result? Just like the tree, his efforts bore fruit. The owner noticed this kid giving so much without asking for anything, and he responded with his own generosity, food, a job, and even a place to live.
All right, so we've gone from a tree in Greece to a bakery in Italy. How in the world does this all lead to a tech company? Let's connect the dots and see how the tangerine tree principle basically got turned into software code.
So fast forward a bunch of years. Evangelos is an entrepreneur now, and he keeps hitting this wall. He saw the email marketing companies were all about scarcity. They'd cap you, they'd raise your fees, they put all these limits on you. It felt like the total opposite of that generous tangerine tree.
So what do you do when the world operates on scarcity but you believe in abundance? You build your own world. He created no-limit emails, a system designed from its very foundation to be about abundance, directly fighting that industry standard of, well, artificial scarcity.
And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. You can literally draw a straight line from the tree to the tech. So the tree's distribution and abundance, that becomes unlimited email sending, no artificial limits. Reproduction, building on what's already there, that's reflected in using and supporting open source software. The consistency and persistency that clients need, that comes from their solid in-house infrastructure. And finally, recycle, that turns into giving back, sharing profits with the community. It's literally the tangerine tree principle, just in digital form.
Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? What does this incredible story about a Greek teenager and a tech company mean for you and me? Let's bring it all home.
And this last quote from Evangelos just hits the nail on the head. He's saying the universe is fundamentally a place of abundance. It's us, it's our own mindsets, our own phony and silly reasons that create this feeling of not enough. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What broken branches or fallen fruit are you seeing as waste in your own world? What generosity is hiding in plain sight, just waiting for you to see it, not as a loss, but as a gift? What abundance is right there in front of you if you just change the way you look?